Hi guys, Artiar here. So for this video, I'll be talking about the Calamity Island full guide, which is the Inferno 1, Wind 1, and Flow 1, all the guide here. So special thanks to King Diaz. He made out a tier list and the full guide of the 3 tower, and he completed the whole tower, which is Team 1, Team 2, and Team 3, all 3 element tower, and he willing to make a tier list and also the team guide idea to everyone who is still suffering from the content. Alright, so let's take a look at the first one, which is the Wind Tower. Okay, so the first one we'll be looking at is the Wind Tower tier list. So after explaining the tier list, then I will go through and recommend you some team setup as well, which is provided by King AZ as well. So this is the tier list itself. There's specific esper that needs a resonance to actually to be usable, such as Camille, Yushu, and Yamato here. So if you're actually trying to put them in your team, you have to make sure they have at least R6. This is the minimum requirement for them to actually use them in the tower. Then the R2 requirement here is like Yunchuan, you need the R2 to assist. Tang Xuan, you need the R2 to keep on pursuit S1, and then Feng Shun here is to give up the buff and the AP push. They are the R2 required. I think Feng Shun can be R0 as well, depends do you need the AP push or not, but if you have R2, Feng Shun will be better. So this is the main requirement, and then this is the priority tier list. So the EX1 here, you will be, most of the time you'll be seeing them in the Calamity team, because this is the main controller. Longmain is the best wind controller you have, and then Archibald, the one swing damage, which also force them to actually only can cast S1, and then here can AP clear, can stun, can give buff, can Gabriel can give buff, and if you build her with stun stat, she's actually able to stun enemy as well. Then Ashley here can provide attack up, which is a very good buffer, and also stun as well. Then Farah here can provide stun, freeze, and also very good damage. And Fumitsuki here is very excellent in Calamity Tower because of her healing, the buff blocker, the stun she's able to provide for the team as well. So this is the EX tier. So most probably every single team you will see at least 1 or 2 of them at least in your team. Then for S tier here, you have like Nora, you have Luo Yan, you have Li Guang. Then what is this called again? You have this Archer guy, you have Hall and Jin Chiu. So there's the S tier, which they are very good choices for like DPS. This one is DPS here, healer, DPS, AP pusher, DPS. Jin Chiu is a very strong DPS for Wind Tower as well. Then for Yamato here, because Yamato is mostly a single target damage dealer, so he will be not that good in Calamity Tower, because Calamity Tower is more about AoE damage, because you have to clear them in a very short turn, so you want AoE damage as many as possible. So you can see here, most of the esper we are showing on top here, they are AoE damage. AoE damage most of the time, or like single target damage that can most of the very consistently. But Mateo is not one of them. But he is at A tier because he still can one-shot enemy. So if you don't have certain unit here, Mateo could be a very good replacement as well. So like Jinhee is a very good stunner. Then Ophelia here, if you have her R6 or high reso, maybe you can also use Ophelia because she can clear the enemy very fast. Then the rest here is the replacement, like healer, like buffer here, they are the replacement, but they won't be as good at the esper on top here. Then for B tier and C tier, they are almost the same thing, so I won't be really going through. So you can see like here you have the shield, here you have some healer, this is a healer, Tricky is a debuffer, but most of the time you want to clear the floor as fast as possible, so you don't want to waste too much time to consume your turn. So this is the tier list, and let's take a look at the team build idea. Okay, so this is the first team build idea. You can see that I already listed what is their position. So this is a single target floor. So it's a single target floor, you only need one team to actually clear the floor, right? So one team here, the most important thing, you must have a controller in your team, and Longmin will be your best choice because he is a speed leader, and then he can provide AoE freeze as well. Then Gabriel here will be providing buffer or control, because if you build her with Tyrant set, she can also stun the enemy. And then the left 3 of them is just your choice of the DPS. You can put any kind of other DPS there as long as your Longmian and Gabriel is able to stun the enemy. You just you just need to keep on making stun on them, and then you just DPS them. So this is very simple. And then this is the second team idea. You will slowly see the pattern there. You always see Longmaid as a CC unit, then there's 3 DPS, 2 to 3 DPS, and then you can see Camille here is your sub controller, because Camille here, when you do S3 is a AoE bleed, then S2 is a AoE stun. So this is a third team idea. Then this is your third team idea, which is you have Longmaid as a controller as well. You have Yang Jian, which is Yunchuan as a DPS, and then Ashley as a DPS, and then Gabby as a buffer or controller, then Camille as a DPS and controller. So you can see that's it's like 2 to 3 DPS and then 2 controller. This is the pattern. Then the last one here is also the same, which is controller, DPS, then you have buffer, DPS, and the last one is Farah, which is a DPS and also a controller. So this is for the single tower floor idea. Then if you need a 2 tower floor idea, then this one will be the next one. Okay, so this is the 2 tower floor idea. You're gonna have, like, let's say the team 1 here, you're gonna have Camille as a DPS and controller. You have Abigail there, Archibald there as a DPS and controller. You have Buffer, which is Feng Shun plus Yushu as a DPS, and then you have Louis as the DPS as well. Then the second team also have the same. You must have a controller, which is a Longmian, and then Gabriel as a sub controller. Then the rest is the DPS, and you can see Farah there is a DPS and controller as well. Then if you can't make this team 1 team, you can also go for the second one, which is the one at the right. You can see there's still a controller there, which is Camille, and then you have Yunchuan as DPS, Li Guang as DPS, and then another controller, which is Senior, and then another DPS is Alolin. You can mix and match your own team. You have not exactly you have to copy the same thing. You can mix and match. If you don't have Alolin, you can put other DPS. It doesn't matter, right? So for team 2 there, you have still see there's a controller, then buffer, DPS controller, which is Lian, and then DPS controller, which is Archibald, and then DPS at the back. So the main idea is you have to have at least 1 to 2 controller in your team, and then 3 DPS, 2 to 3 DPS, depends on if you're the buff or not. So this is the main idea surrounding it for team 2 as well. Then if you need the 3 team, this is one of the example idea here, which you can see the team 1 there, you still have 2 controller. No, sorry, Camille is a controller, then the rest is like DPS, right? So this is a fast clear team 1. If it's not consistent for you, you can switch out Tang Xuan, the DPS slot, to put in another controller slot. So it is a very good idea to switch out together. And then for your team 2 here, you can see there's 2 controller there, which is Longbin and Farah, and Gabby is your sub controller. And then you can team 3 there, you have Senia, you have Abigail, Archibald and Jin Chiu as your sub controller. So as I said, you're gonna need at least 1 to 2 controller, and then 2 to 3 DPS in your team to make the team work. Alright, so if you have anything you want to mix and match, you can always refer back to the tier list here to check out who to replace. Everything is already listed here. Make sure you put the EX1 first. If you don't have the EX1, then you only go for the S1. The bottom one, you can kinda don't bother them, because they don't really help you clear the Calamity fast enough. Alright, so let's get to the next one. Okay, so here is the Inferno tier list for the Calamity Tower. So this is the one that needed R6 to work. I agree most of it, but I don't agree Nama, because yes, Nama R6 is going to be very strong, but I think, because personally myself, I'm using Narmer without R6 as well. So I think Narmer without R6, I think like R2 above, you'll already be functionable, but R6 will make it a lot more faster. Then for R2 here, these 3 Esper need to be R2 for this. This one is for the bullet, this one is for the splash damage, and then this one is for the HP swapping. Then EX here, they works very well. You will see Javid works very well in Calamity Tower because of all the true damage he's able to deal from the debuff. It is a very strong debuff, so in Calamity Tower is very important. Then the rest here is like the DPS, and Priscilla is the best controller you can have in Calamity Tower as well. And then S tier here we have Falcon, because of the Falcon's debuff. Falcon debuff will deal extra damage, so it's a very strong debuff here. And then we have Lucas, the controller, the AP pusher, healer plus AP push. We have the cheat code, from Mavis. And then Adrena here is a very good DPS and also a very good controller as well. And then Chloe and Liling is a very strong DPS for Calamity Tower. Then Sander, Sander and Drew here is a very good choice as well. The rest here I would say is kind of meh in terms of the DPS output for Inferno Tower. Your main DPS for the Inferno Tower will be like Narmer, Embla, Brewster, JV, Sujie, right? All this one. So let's take a look at the team idea. Okay, so this is the team idea here. You can see the first one here. We have Falcon as a debuffer, and then we have another 2 DPS, which is Sander and Chloe, and then we have Priska as a controller and Shachiko for the buffer. So this is pretty free to play team for the team 1 example here. And then for the team 2 example, you can see Javid as a leader, and then Embla as a DPS, and then Lucas here for the multi-hit to proc Embla's seed faster, and also the controller. And then Brewster is a DPS, and David here is also a controller as well. David can do AoE stun. Then the other team idea is Falcon as leader as well, but we have like DPS, which is Embla as a main DPS, and then Lucas for the controller is multi-hit, and Adrena is a controller as well, also a sub DPS for multi-hit. Then the last team here, you can see it is like Sujie plus JV plus Brewster. More or less, they are all the same concept. As long as you have the controller in your team and you have high DPS, you can pass all this team easily. Right, then the other 2 team for the 2 tower one, we have like example. You can see all this example here. You always see the CC. You will always see the crowd control unit in the team. So I won't be further explaining here. You can just feel free to take a look at the reference, right? Then the last one here is this 3 team one. So the first one we have a controller, which is David as the team 1 controller, and then for the team 2 controller we have Lucas and Adrena, and then the team 3 controller we have Priska, and then the rest there is like mix and match with the DPS and the debuff, like how can you fit them in. So just make sure you keep track the team idea and also the tier list, so you can have a better idea of what should you put in your team for your DPS. Like just go through the tier list. The bottom one, don't bother them. Use at least like 8 here above to fit into your team, right? Alright, so let's take a look at the flow one. Okay, so then for this one here is the flow tower. Flow tower probably is the easiest compared to other 3 tower here, because you have the cheat code, which is Hilda, all those poison Esper we have here, right? So R6 Donna is probably one of the best AoE damage you can have here, and then Ether have to be R2 because of you want the buff to get at the start of the combat. Then EX tier here, most of the time you use them. Parmi is your best free to play controller. Jiangman is your best free to play DPS. And then the rest here is this is the best speed, best AoE damage, best debuffer, best controller as well. And then Yuran here is a very good choice for Calamity clear because of the AoE sleep. AoE defense break is a very strong thing. Then for S tier here, this is a AoE damage here, AoE AP down. Liam here provides a very strong damage boost and also deals a lot of damage, so Liam is an S tier. Mona is your best free to play AoE damage dealer, and also a very good pair with Jiangman to proc the seed stack. And then Dahlia here is your best free to play buffer as well. Then for A tier here, they are A tier because they are most of the time are doing single target damage, and in Calamity Tower you want to have AoE damage. That's why they are like A tier below, but feel free to mix and match around. Maybe you have like higher Rezo Intisa, then you don't have Leora, all those stuff. You can make your own replacement, right? So you doesn't have to force yourself to follow the tier list here, but you can mix and match around as long as you know how to build a team. So these are some of the team ideas he provided. So you can see here, both it's the same thing we already repeated on the wind tower and the Inferno tower as well. As long as your team manage to make the CC chain, keep controlling them, then that isn't a problem. So you can see the team 1 here, you have controller, then 3 DPS and a buffer. So it's a very simple lineup. And then you can see Mona Mona and Jiangman is a very good pair as well, because Mona multi-hit can power out Jiangman's seed very easily. Then for the team 2 there, TA as a speed leader replacement for Parmi, and then the rest is kind of the same. So you just need to get the trick, which is the control. Every team have to have the controller and DPS. Then for this team 2 team con idea for you, right? So it's the same thing. Control is the king. Calamity, control is the king. Then the last one, the team 3 here. Alright, so that's all for the video here. I know the flow tower, like, I go through very fast because it's kind of repeat the same thing as the Inferno tower and Wind tower, so I don't want to make the video too long. So it's about the same team concept. You just want to maintain every team have at least 1 to 2 controller, and then every team have at least 1 to 2 AoE damage dealer, and then maybe you want to slot in as a third DPS or a buffer, is up to you. Alright, so hope when you're looking at this video, it actually helps you, the new player or maybe the old player or endgame player who haven't cleared the Calamity tower yet. Hope this guide is able to help you clear your Calamity tower and get all the rewards you're able to get from there. Alright, hope you guys enjoy the video, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Special thanks for the direct support on the YouTube membership. So for the benefactor of Artiar, which is Jan MP, thanks for the support. And for the supporter and patron of Artiar, which is Louis Schneider, Agni, Gemai, Code Wilderness, Molcult Rajali, Ziggy, Wang Tamer, Kamaruki, Sunwaltz, and Rakatus. So thanks for the support, and special thanks to Louis Schneider and Agni for the 2-month streak of support. So hope you guys enjoy the video, and see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.